This is the Spring 2017 Multi-Level Feedback Queue for CPU Scheduler assignment. So with Multi-Level Feedback Queue, we are going to do 3 different types of algorithms. We have the round robin with a time quantum 7, round robin with a time quantum 14, and first come, first serve. All processes start out as level 1s. If they get preempted for time quantum, they will change to a level 2. Once they've changed to a level 2, they will stay a level 2, and if they get preempted for time quantum as a level 2, they will change to a level 3. In addition, this algorithm has priority, which means that any processes that are level 1s will have absolute priority over level 2s and level 3s, and level 2s will have absolute priority over level 3s. And so there will be preemptive priority. So let's get started. We'll assume that all processes are level 1s and all processes arrived at time 0, and they arrived in this order, P1 through P9. So first off, we will start with P1. So at time 0, oh, that color is not very good. Let's get a better color. So at time 0, we have P1, and P1 has a CPU burst of 24 time units, and that is definitely greater than the 7. So P1 is going to be preempted for time quantum at time 7. It's going to go back into the ready queue at time 7. That will be its new arrival time. It will have 17 time units of CPU burst left, and it will be downgraded to a level 2 process. Now the current time is 7. We will run P2. P2 has a CPU burst of 15, so P2 will also be preempted for time quantum. We'll also change to a level 2. We'll have a new arrival time of 14. We'll have 8 time units left of its current CPU burst. Now we run P3. P3 has a CPU burst of 17, so P3 will also be preempted for time quantum at time 21. We'll go back to the ready queue at time 21. We'll be downgraded to a level 2, and we'll have 10 time units left of its first CPU burst. Now we will run P4. P4 has a CPU burst of 15, so P4 will also be preempted at time 28, and P4 will turn into a level 2. We'll go back to the ready queue at time 28, and we'll have 8 time units left of its first CPU burst. So all the processes P1 through P4 will not be able to go out to I/O because they have to complete their first CPU burst. Now we have P5. P5 has a CPU burst of 6, which is less than the time quantum of 7. So P5 will finish at time 34, and we'll go out to I/O for 22 time units, and we'll come back at time 56. And the important thing here is that P5 is going to remain a level 1. Now we have P6. P6 has a CPU burst of 5 time units. So P6 will go on the CPU until time 39. And then we'll go out to I/O for 33 time units. So we'll come back at time 72. And P6 will also remain a level 1 process. P7 has a CPU burst of 12, so P7 will be able to get 7 time units of its 12 time unit CPU burst. So it will be preempted at time 46, and it will be downgraded to a level 2. We'll have a new arrival time at time 46, and we'll have 5 time units left of its original CPU burst. P8 has a CPU burst of 5, so P8 will go until time 51. Will remain a level 1, and we'll go out to I/O for 14 time units, and we'll come back at time 65. P9 has a CPU burst of 13 time units, so P9 is going to be preempted at time 58, and P9 is going to have a new arrival time of 58, and will also have 6 time units of its CPU burst, and will be downgraded to a level 2. So now we've done the first run of all of the processes, and at this time right here, you will be able to get the response time. You can calculate the response time by subtracting the first time the process gets on the CPU subtracting the arrival time from that. So now I'm going to change the pen color just so it makes it easier to follow what's happening. And let's continue. So now the current time is 58. So if the current time is 58, we have to take a look and decide if any level 1s are in the ready queue. And if you take a look, we have P5, P6, and P8. They are all level 1s, and P5 is in the ready queue and got there at time 56. So the next one to run is going to be P5. I'm only changing the color to make it easier to read. So P5 has a CPU burst of 5 time units. So P5 will go until time 63, at which time it will go out to I/O for 21 time units, and it will come back at time 84. So now the current time is 63. P8 and P6 are not in the ready queue, so we're going to have to run the processes. We're going to go down to the level 2s and run them in the order they arrived in the ready queue, and that's P1. So P1 is a level 2, so P1 should essentially have 14 time units on the CPU, but if you notice at time 65, P8 is going to arrive and is going to preempt P1, because at time 65 we have the arrival of P8. And when P8 arrives, P8 is going to kick P1 off of the CPU because it is a level 1 and P1 is a level 2. So at time 65, P1 is going to go back into the ready queue. It's not going to get to go out to I/O. It's going to remain a level 2 though. It's not going to get downgraded, but it's going to have a new arrival time in the ready queue, which is time 65, and it's going to still have 15 time units left of its original CPU burst. Now the current time is 65, and we can run P8. P8 is a level 1. It has a CPU burst of 4 time units, so it will remain a level 1. It will stay on the CPU until time 69, and then it will go out to I/O for 33 time units. So it will come back into the ready queue at time 102. Now the current time is 69. We can see that our other level 1s are still out in I/O, P6 and P5, so we're going to have to let a level 2 go. And the level 2 that's in the front of the queue is P2. So P2 gets a chance to do its 14 time units on the CPU. However, we can see that at time 72 we're going to have the arrival of P6, which is a level 1. So at time 72, P6 is going to arrive and preempt P2. That means that P2 is going to go back to the ready queue at time 72 and is still going to have 5 time units left of its current CPU burst. So it's not going to be able to go out to I/O yet. It's going to remain a level 2. The current time is 72. Now P6 is going to get on the CPU until time 77, and then P6 will go out to I/O for 31 time units and will come back at time 108, and it's going to remain a level 1 because the CPU burst was less than 7 time units. So now the current time is 77. All of our level 1s are still in I/O, so we're going to have to give a level 2 another opportunity to go. Our level 2 that got there, that's in front of the queue, is P3. P3 should have 14 time units. However, P3 is going to get preempted at time 84 because of the arrival of P5. So P3 will get preempted at time 84. So P3 was able to do 7 of its CPU burst, but it still has 3 left, and it has a new arrival time back into the ready queue of time 84. Now the current time is 84, and it's time to let our level 1 P5 go. Now P5 gets 7 time units on the CPU burst, and if you notice, P1 happens to have a long CPU burst there. So what's going to happen is P5 is going to get preempted at time 91. It's preempted not it's preempted for time quantum, which means that P5 is no longer a level 1. It has now become a level 2, and we now only have 2 level 1s left. It also is going to have a new arrival time in the ready queue of time 91, and it's going to have 8 time units left of its current CPU burst. So now the time is 91, and we need to check if we have any level 1s in the ready queue, which we do not, so we have to go on to level 2s, and we can go to P4. P4 has the opportunity to go for 14 time units as a level 2 and remain a level 2, and it only has an 8 time of CPU burst left, so P4 is going to actually go until time 99, at which time P4 is going to go out to I/O for 35 time units and will come back to the ready queue at time 134. Now the current time is 99, so we have to check if any of our level 1s, which is P6 and P8, and neither of them have arrived. So we have to continue on with our level 2s, which the one that got there the soonest was P7. P7 got there at time 46 and has a CPU burst of 7 time units. So P7 is going to get on there and try to do its 7 time unit CPU burst, but you will notice that P8 is going to arrive at 102. At time 102, P8 is going to preempt P7. Oh, P7 had 5 time units, sorry. Go back. P7 had 5 left. So P7 was trying to do the 5 that was left, but it was only able to do 3. So it still has 2 time units of CPU burst left and a new arrival time of 102. So again, P7 was not trying to do its new 7. It had 5 left from before, but it was unable to complete those 5 because P8 arrived at time 102. So when P8 arrived at time 102, it preempted P7, so it still has 2 left before it can go out to I/O. Now the current time is 102, and we have P8. P8 is going to go at time 102, and it is a level 1, and its CPU burst is 6 time units, so it will go until time 108, and then it will go out to I/O for 31 time units, and it will come back into the ready queue at time 139, and P8 is going to remain a level 1 process. Now the current time is 108, so we check if we have any level 1s, and we do. P6. P6 is a level 1. It gets 7 time units, and its CPU burst is only 6 time units, so it will go until time 114. And then it will go out to I/O for 32 time units, and so it will come back into the ready queue at time 144. So now the current time is 114. Our 2 level 1s are out in I/O. P6 gets back at 144, P8 gets back at 139. So now it's time to take a look at our level 2s. We have P9 that got there at time 58. So we're going to run P9. P9 is going to get a chance to do its 6 time units that was left, and it doesn't look like it's going to get preempted, so it's going to go until time 120. So P9 will go till time 120. It will remain a level 2, and it will go out to I/O for 47 time units and come back at time 167. Now the current time is 120, and we need to check to see if we have any level 1s. P6 doesn't get there till 144, and P8 doesn't get there till 139. So we will take a look and see of our level 2s which one got there first. So that would be P1. P1 has a CPU burst of 15 time units, and P1 has the opportunity to try to do only 14 time units, at which time if it goes over 14 it gets bumped down to a level 3. So let's pick another color for this because P1 is going to get dumped down to a level 3. So we will pick black, So we have P1 is going to go, and P1 has the opportunity to do 14 time units, and it has a CPU burst of 15. So P1 is going to go until time 134, and will then be kicked out for time quantum, will be downgraded to a level 3. We'll still have 1 time unit of CPU burst left, and we'll have a new arrival time of 134. So P1, because it had a CPU burst of 24, without even getting any opportunity to do its first I/O, it has already been downgraded to a level 3. So I hope this will help you to get started with multi-level feedback queue, and you just need to continue on. The current time is 134. Since there are no level 1s available, we need to run the level 2s. And if the level 2 is running and a level 1 arrives, it will preempt it. So I'm going to hope that you can follow along, and you have partial sample output also to help you to follow along.